Hello, welcome to High Vibe Astrology. This is Jennifer, back with a video on the Aquarius full moon drawn up for August 19th, 2024 at 2:25 p.m. Eastern Time. Welcome if you're new, and thank you for finding this channel. Thank you for supporting this community with your positive energy. This is a particularly powerful lunation because it happens to fall at the exact degree and sign as the USA Sibley chart moon, separated only by a few minutes. The United States moon is at 27 degrees 10 minutes of Aquarius, and this full moon is at 27 degrees 15 minutes. In and of itself, this might not mean a heck of a lot, but not every lunar return is a full moon. In addition to that, this is just one of many planetary returns that the United States has been experiencing. And when you take all of these cycles into consideration, you can easily see the significant transformation underway in the United States right now. So before we look at the chart for this full moon, I wanted to review all of the cycles that are closing out and restarting, effectively causing a reboot in this country that will have ripple effects in the world. It's actually already happening simultaneously. We just had in the United States a solar return on July 4th, and that is a 1-year cycle. This lunar return is a monthly return of the moon, but again, it is not always a full moon, and that's what's significant in this chart. But 2 days after this Aquarius full moon on August 21st, the United States also has a Mars return, and that is a 2-year cycle. Next year, we will have a Jupiter return, which is a 12-year cycle. That's going to happen in July of 2025. And then a couple of years after that, we'll have a Uranus return, which is an 84-year cycle. But there are 2 other cycles we've already started, and that pertains to Pluto and Chiron. I've already done a video on Pluto's return to the United States position, and the exact last hit of Pluto at 27 degrees and 33 minutes of Capricorn occurred on February 20th of 2022. So we are already in the brand new Pluto return cycle for all intents and purposes, but that is a 248-year cycle. We also had a Chiron return, which is a 50-year cycle, and that occurred on April 20th of this year, 4/20 of 24. So let's take a look at what all this means for us as a nation and our connection to the world. Given the extreme contrast between government leaders and the people they govern all over the world, this Aquarius full moon, representing the rebel and revolutionary, is amping up everywhere we turn. It's not just in the United States, it's happening everywhere. But it is significant for us because it is a lunar return. This is exactly where our USA Sibley chart moon sits. So it's one of many astrological symbols for the Second American Revolution. The fact that this moon occupies the exact same house as the USA natal chart is also no small coincidence. The 3rd house rules over communication, early childhood education, telemarketing, telecommunications, all things related to getting the word out in our local community because this is a local house. As I said, not every lunar return is a full moon, and the fact that this one puts the sun in the opposite house, the 9th house, where this illumination is going to broaden the scope of that 3rd house perspective. What comes to light as the microscopic view of the 3rd house enlarges bit by bit with a more telescopic or panoramic view is undoubtedly going to reveal some shockers to the DNC that starts on this day, August 19th, and ends on the very day that Mars returns to its natal position in the USA chart. So no one can tell me that these astrological events are insignificant to us or anyone else for that matter, but particularly for the United States. In an individual's chart, the moon represents our emotional proclivities, what we need to feel safe and secure. In a country's chart, it represents the public or the public mood, the emotional climate of the public by and large. The high vibe of an Aquarius moon is the rebel seeking freedom from its oppressors, much like we did in the American Revolution with the United Kingdom, throwing off the British rule, the British anarchy. The low vibe is the same rebel attitude used cruelly against humanity, Aquarius, humanity, and using peer pressure, which is also Aquarius because it rules over groups and group thinking, using that peer pressure to sway public opinion. It's a propaganda machine. We also have to keep in mind that it is the moon that rules the USA's Cancer sun, the house that rules our domestic scene, our ancestry, heritage, home and family, and basic security needs. That's what the fourth house signifies. Home and family, safety and security. The fact that Aries rules our fourth and fifth houses is also signifying the importance of Mars and its role in all of this as we experience the new 2-year cycle Mars is bringing on August 21st. Because that return is going to have an impact, a direct impact on our domestic scene, the fourth house, and also the fifth house, how we express ourselves, finding fun and pleasure in life again, being able to thrive in life instead of just surviving according to the monstrosity of a government and all the agencies that want to rule our individual freedoms and our private life. It's an overreach of government. So now let's look at the Aquarius full moon chart and see what else we have. Mars and Jupiter form a close conjunction in this chart. Jupiter expands upon whatever it touches, and one could also say blows up whatever it touches. So all things Martian or martial will be growing and expanding in the public view. This could even mean the National Guard becomes more involved in our whole public scene. Remember, too, the significant role that Jupiter plays as the ruler of both this Aquarius full moon chart as well as the USA Sibley chart, because both of these charts have Sagittarius rising. The combination of these two planets in astrology speaks to freedom fighters, holy crusaders, fighting for one's beliefs, and also, on the contrary side, attacking someone else's beliefs. Mars likes to compete, and Jupiter always amplifies. So we can certainly expect more dueling it out or duking it out in the public arena and on the political scene. And as I said, but it bears repeating, this Aquarius full moon is the ruler of the USA's Cancer sun. So our nation's consciousness and core purpose is informed by this rebel Aquarius moon, the revolutionary. And because it sits in the third house, one way that the public revolts is through social media, getting the word out in our community through the digital warrior system. And this is happening on both sides of the aisle. The question we all have to answer for ourselves is, which side do we feel and discern as really representing the public's emotional desires for safety? Which one truly, authentically represents the public and how the majority of people feel in this country? And which one is using the government institutions to oppress the digital warriors who are speaking for the public? Mercury, which is retrograde, is the patron of all communication and therefore the third house energy. It's conjunct the sun in this chart, which sits in the ninth house, and this is where that panoramic view is illuminating the new facts or new facets of information that has already been introduced. On top of that, we have Uranus forming an exact T-square to the Sun and the Moon. So by proxy, it is also forming a tight square to retrograde Mercury. So this is the astrological equivalent of some sort of culture shock or shock waves through the airwaves, the shock waves that come over the airwaves and the telecommunications sector. It could also actually take the form of a cyber attack. Uranus's connection to Mercury could bring sudden understanding, radical minds and or speech, like we haven't seen that already, original ideas, or a mixture of all of the above. Now I want to talk about another T-square from this Mars-Jupiter conjunction to the Venus-Saturn opposition. In an individual's chart, the Venus-Saturn opposition translates as unrequited love, halted love, or love that takes a long, long time to ever manifest. It's restricted in some way until whatever this Venus-Saturn opposition means in that individual's chart, when that is mastered, then there is longevity that is born. But in the case of a nation, which is what we're addressing here, especially when you interrupt that energy flow with Mars and Jupiter forming that T-square, the love that's kept at arm's length is intensified by an inner war. It's like an inner conflict defending the heart or intellectualizing those affections and the desire for affection, which Venus represents. In the collective, especially in its opposition to Saturn in Pisces, this could represent a leader who will do or say whatever is needed to remain in the public eye. That midheaven visible position. Now, Venus and Virgo, in and of itself, without these connections, would speak to someone who doesn't want to really be out in the public. Virgo is the hermit. But with Venus and Virgo conjunct that midheaven and opposing Saturn in Pisces, it embodies the sentiment Saturn wants to make real, tangible. In Pisces, though, there is bound to be some form of deception. Remember that Mercury also co-rules Virgo, and it is the ruler of Gemini as well, both of which are in tension to each other at this time. Mars and Jupiter in Gemini can expand the lies or the talking out of both sides of the mouth. But the fact that Mercury is retrograde means that information is being revisited and illuminated that will definitely impact this entire story, however it plays out. Chiron is another co-ruler of Virgo, and Venus is at odds with Chiron. But that Chiron is making a nice trine to the Sun and Mercury in the 9th house. So this, I feel, is about supporting our desire to heal that ancient wound in our nation's history. Chiron in the USA chart is in the 4th house, and in this Aquarius full moon, it sits in the 5th. But remember that Aries is on the cusp of both the 4th and the 5th house in that USA Sibley chart. So the 4th and 5th house, domestic activities, safety and security needs, plus the desire to thrive, to feel lighthearted, playful, innocent, and enjoy life again. These are the energies that are up right now for healing. With this trine from Chiron to the Sun and Mercury, I feel like we are definitely, whatever is illuminated at this full moon is going to help heal a great deal of that and or illuminate what has been wounding us all along, undermining our feeling of safety or ability to thrive rather than just survive in life. The next thing I want to look at is this yod from Neptune and Pluto to the Sun, signifying that a refinement of our conscious understanding, represented by the Sun, is required by these two transpersonal planets, which have to do with power and authenticity, Pluto, and a Neptunian dream. The low vibe of these planets combined is betrayal and deception. And how has that impacted our conscious understanding of who we truly are and how to express ourselves? We will be, I feel, discovering the subtle ways that these energies have slowly, incrementally infiltrated the sector of broadcasting, our overall view of the world. And this brings me to the card that I pulled from my Sacred Rebel deck for this particular chart for the Aquarius full moon. And it's really uncanny, as it always is, seeing the true you. The reason I bring this up is because of that ninth house placement in this full moon chart, the sun that is in the ninth house, illuminated by that full moon and touched by a yod from Neptune and Pluto, suggesting to me that we are going to see the ways that our beliefs about ourselves, who we are as a nation, have been poisoned with toxic viewpoints that have been broadcast on the airwaves 24/7. It's a propaganda machine. A lot of these things are going to be revealed. The last thing I want to talk about is the Pluto Sedna Trine, which has been occurring for a while now. And that is supporting the entire world's metamorphosis. Pluto rules world government or government leaders. And with Sedna's even longer orbit of 11 to 12,000 years, we're talking about an entire civilization and another very long-held theme that is dying. This is a closing out of the old age and entering a new one. So major metamorphosis that is impacting our entire world. And both Sedna and Pluto are impacting the ascendant in this chart. Sedna opposes the ascendant, and Pluto is making a harmonious sextile. But to me, this really signifies that a new day is dawning. So that is what I have for you, but I'll be back with a video for the Mars return. Please stay tuned for the oracle message and the planetary frequencies that follow. By the way, if you haven't subscribed yet, I would appreciate it if you would do so. Hit the like button so that you can help others find this channel and join our community as well. Thank you for tuning in, and I look forward to being with you next time. Bye for now. Seeing the true you. Sometimes we believe what others tell us we are, as though the self we see reflected back to us through their eyes is truth. Yet the accuracy of a reflection depends on the clarity of that which is doing the reflecting. If the receiver forms any opinion about what is perceived, then what is reflected back to us will, at best, be distorted. It is not necessarily through ill will, it is just the mechanics of the situation. Even the moon reflects the sun in varying degrees of fullness and clarity. We can learn something of the nature of sun from the moon, but not as much as through direct perception. This oracle has come to you because you have been putting rather too much faith in the reflections others have of you, to the point that you might not be honoring all that you are and all that you are becoming, because you believe too little of yourself. There may be those around you that are able to reflect you more faithfully and even help you see more of your own greatness and beauty. These are the souls blessed with inner stillness. In the clear waters of their ocean of consciousness, you can come to recognize yourself with clearer perception. However, there are those who have not tended to their own ocean and are unable to be still enough to genuinely receive and reflect your light back to you. There is no judgment here. Each takes the path of self-healing that is available and appropriate at any given time. However, to attempt to see the magnificence of a sun in a very partial moon doesn't make too much sense. If you are blessed with those in your life who can show you the beauty within you, wonderful. Even so, this oracle comes to you with a task you are now ready for. You are to begin to develop the art of direct perception. This is the ability to recognize yourself not only in the eyes of others, but from how you feel about yourself, how you experience yourself, and how you observe yourself with compassion and kindness from within. This is a step towards a radical empowerment that does not require perfection in order for you to recognize you are lovable and have much to offer. It is empowerment based on the acceptance of all that you are, working with your strengths, tending to your weaknesses, and being loving, encouraging, and nurturing of all that you perceive. As you continue on this journey, you will not only see your human self, but the eternal within you. This is a breathtaking experience that opens you up to the creative energy that flows abundantly through all of life. It is an experience that takes great preparation because we must be strong within our own self-love and acceptance to be able to hold acceptance for all of life. This oracle is nudging you into that preparation for when you have the experience of truly beholding yourself. All judgment, fear, and doubt will fall away, and you will just know yourself to be sacred. Then you will be asked to embrace the deeper journey of sacred rebellion against judgment and fear, and into passionate creativity and unconditional trust in life. This oracle comes with a special message for you. If you are getting confused about who you are and your motives or actions based on what others are saying, or how they are responding to you, step back. In your quest to be a responsible person, you may be unintentionally taking on the feelings of others, making their reflections of you more than they are in truth. More often than not, reflections are more about the state of the reflector than what is being reflected. Let those external perceptions go. Can you just acknowledge yourself? Do so and be free. Healing process. Say with feeling, I now break any contract I have ever made with another, consciously or unconsciously, that has given them power over me, power over my sense of self, the authority to approve or reject me or anything about me, including my voice, body, creativity, spirituality, and way of living. Of my own free will, I now choose to directly perceive my own inner beauty and turn within with kindness and compassion to see myself through the eyes of unconditional love. So be it.